Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to tell you how to make $20,000 during this Black Friday to Cyber Monday sale coming up this year, and the strategy that I've used to do it for multiple years in the past. Let's dive in. All right, guys, well, welcome back to the podcast. As always, I'm so grateful for your time and your attention. In today's video, I want to talk to you about the Black Friday strategy that you need in order to sell $20,000 over a 4-day period from Black Friday through the weekend into Cyber Monday. And so we're trying to drop this early enough so that you can maybe get your ducks in a row and actually implement this. I really just want to talk through 4 things that I've done to be able to generate a really good response with our clients, with our customers on Black Friday through that Cyber Monday weekend as well. I'm going to keep this very practical, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I did my very first time that I went into the Black Friday Cyber Monday weekend and what type of results we got as a result of that. Back in 2018, I was coming into Black Friday Cyber Monday weekend. Do I want to try to put together a promotion? At that point, the business was still more of a hobby, more so than it was an actual legitimate business. I decided that I was going to send a couple emails to my really small email list. I was going to run some ads, and I was going to see what happened. Well, long story short is we spent around $600 in ads. We generated right under $20,000 in sales, and we've been able to just grow that ever since then. So that was the first year that I did it. The second year that we did it, I think we generated around $45,000 in sales. And then last year, as many of you know that have listened to the show or have been watching this YouTube channel, last year back in 2021, we did over $100,000 in sales. It was our first month ever to break $100,000 in sales. So I really want to give you the most stripped down strategy of how we do this. And so number one, we plan to send some emails to our email list. Okay, so if you don't have any type of email list at all, this is one of the reasons that I would encourage you to start figuring out how to collect emails. But if you have an email list, even if it's a couple hundred people, you want to be sure to go ahead and plan and schedule some emails to go out. Basically, this is the biggest sell of the year. This is when people are buying when they're not buying any other time of the year quite like this time of the year. So we want to get it in front of everybody that we possibly can that we're running a really aggressive Black Friday sale. Okay, so number one is we want to schedule 3 or 4 emails that are going to go out. A couple that go out before the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale, and then a few that go out during the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale. That's number one. Number two was that we ran ads to our ideal local audience. We had a paid advertising strategy, and we ran ads to that audience. So like I said, we spent around $500 to generate right at $20,000 in sales. The third one, and I would say is probably the most important point when it comes to putting together a strategy for Black Friday, is that you have to be aggressive on the sale that you run. So you can't run a $5 off sale and expect anybody to buy, right? You've got to be aggressive. So this is where a lot of people go wrong. They're like, well, I've got to make this much money per order. I've got to make this much money per this or that. Well, you're trading a little bit of your profitability per order for volume. So we don't want to get to the point where we're not making any money, because you can make no money not doing any work, right? We don't want to price ourselves to the point where we're not profitable anymore. We want to make sure that we're profitable, but we're going to give up a little bit of profitability to try to pull as many buyers in as possible and give us some sales volume, especially to get us through that late December, early January season that tends to be pretty slow for handmade business owners, tends to be pretty slow for furniture makers. It's going to be really, really valuable that you get aggressive on your sale. And so what I always like to do is 30 or 35% off my stuff, but it depends on your margins. You got to know your numbers and make sure that that makes sense for you. And then during that Friday to Monday, my only goal, my only objective as the owner of the business is to maximize every conversation. So I'm not worried about how much the shop is getting done. I'm not worried about building anything. If I was a one-man show, if I were you, I would put production on hold during those 4 days, and I would focus solely on sales. Only sales. And it's really cool when you get done with that, because you wrap up the end of the night on Monday and the dust kind of starts to settle, and you can go back and you can look at all the orders that you wrote for those amounts, and you can see kind of how you did. It's a very fun, very exhilarating time of the year as a business owner. When I talk about focusing on maximizing every conversation, here's what I want to break down, and I'm going to give you some really practical advice around maximizing every conversation during this time period, okay? Number one is we want to keep it very conversational with everybody that we're talking with. We don't want to just dump all of our knowledge on them. Like, number one, most of these people that are buying your stuff, they don't know the intricacies of what all the different offerings that you have. So what we want to do is we want to ask questions and then keep it very conversational. So we don't ask a question and then, reply with a paragraph this long. We want to ask a question. Okay, awesome. What about this? They will reply, okay, what about this? And then we say, okay, give me a moment. I'll get you that quote, or give me a moment and let me get you that pricing. And then I'll give a quote and say, what are your thoughts on that? What other questions do you have for me? We want to keep it very conversational. This is where a lot of people go terribly wrong in the sales environment. It'll be conversational for a minute, and then they'll just throw up all this information, and the prospect's having to read through line after line after line after line. And if it's in a messaging situation or if it's on the phone, you end up dominating the conversation where you're just talking all the time. If you're talking all the time, you're doing it wrong, okay? So we want to make sure that we keep it conversational. Another thing that we really try to do inside of these sales conversations is find common ground with our prospects. This is one of the ways that you can just connect to them. If all things were equal between you and your competitor, they would choose you over the competitor. So keep it conversational, ask questions, find common ground. And then the last two are handle objections or questions. Once they kind of get some information from you, we want to ask specifically, what specific questions do you have? How does this pricing sound? Is this within your budget? Are there any concerns or questions that you have? What specific concerns or questions do you have? We want to try to pull out their questions, because anybody that's buying anything high ticket or anything low ticket probably has questions about the product. When can I expect to receive it? They probably have questions. So we want to handle their objections, handle their questions, and work them through that process, okay? And then lastly, guys, is we ask for the sale, okay? So what this means is that once I know that I've handled everybody's objections, what I'm doing then is I'm saying, hey, do you have anything else? Is there anything that I'm missing? Are you ready to move forward? Are you ready to go ahead and wrap this up and get your place in line? Are you ready? We're asking for the sale, and not a pushy way. Hey, sign this, sign on the dotted line, but we're saying, it sounds like we've answered all your questions. Is there anything else? Are you ready to move forward with the sale? You're ready to move forward and go ahead and get your spot in line. And this just puts a bow on it and wraps it up, okay? One of the things that I wanted to just mention to you is, if you are watching this and you're like, well, Zach, that's great, but I don't have an email list. I don't know how to run ads. I'm going to be running a special from the time that this podcast drops through Black Friday on my online course called Handmade Hero Academy. Now, what Handmade Hero Academy is really, it's all the knowledge and all the information that I use to get to consistently doing $10,000 per month in sales. Normally, this is something that's $997. It's normally $1,000 for the program, but what we're going to do is we're going to do where you can do a one-time payment of $497, so a 50% discount, or you can do 6 payments of $97, okay? But what you're going to get inside of this program is you're going to get exactly how to run ads, okay? You're going to get how to run ads to your local audience. You're going to figure out how to build a brand. We're going to help you develop and build your own Shopify website. It's a program that's really going to get you from that beginner level to where you're profiting consistently off of your business. So again, I'm going to post a link to that in the description below here on YouTube and also on the podcast. But if you are at the beginner stage, you're like, man, I'm trying to get this off the ground. I'm trying to develop a brand. I'm trying to develop products. I don't know what products are profitable. We help you discover which products you should be selling and which ones you should not be selling. We help you analyze the numbers inside of that course, inside of that program, and then we show you step by step how to build out your advertising campaigns on Facebook. We show you how to build your website. We show you how to do all those sorts of things so that you could go into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and actually hit the ground running. With that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up, but I wanted to take a moment to walk you through this strategy. So we're just maximizing what we have. So we're maximizing our email list if we have it. If you have people on an SMS text list, we're sending out text messages. Everybody has an audience on Facebook. You just got to know how to run the ads. You are being aggressive with your sale, and then you're focusing on maximizing every conversation. You're not worrying about what you're making in the shop during this 4 days. You're not worrying about anything else. You're worrying about maximizing the sale. This is typically how it goes. You'll have a pretty busy Friday. You'll have a slower Saturday, slower Sunday, and then you'll have a really busy Monday. That's typically how that goes. Like last year, for example, we sold right over $100,000 during that time. We did probably $30,000 or $25,000 on Friday, $10,000 each day on Saturday and Sunday, and then we did $70,000 on Monday. day. That's kind of how that split works, so just be prepared for that. You might need to pull your spouse in and have them help you with conversations. You're probably going to be taking sales over the phone. You'll probably be chatting with people on Facebook. People will probably be placing orders on your website if you have a website. And so, but we want to go into this with somewhat of a strategy, a plan to maximize this. This is the greatest 4-day span of time for the entire year for selling your stuff. So if you are not doing anything during this time, I want to encourage you to maybe change your mind about that, because you're missing out. You're leaving money on the table. If this video helped you, if it's been beneficial to you, if this podcast has helped you, please leave us a review. That would mean the world to me, to my team, and my family. So with that being said, I love you guys. I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll see you in the next one.